It's Wednesday, April 30. In the headlines, National Security Minister Dr. Horace Chang reports significant shift in the fight against crime. Prime Minister Dr. Andrew Holness wears blue to support the Jamaica Constabulary Force and its focus on reducing gang crime. The opposition promises a focus on police body cams if elected. In business news, digital training expands across Jamaica. Regionally, in Barbados, the government enhances early warning system with new ocean technology. And in sports, Jamaica Football Federation announces improved financial standing. This is the news on PBC Jamaica. I'm Simone Absalom Gale. There's a significant shift in the fight against crime and violence in Jamaica. That's what National Security Minister Dr. Horace Chang said during the opening address for the sectoral debate in Parliament on Tuesday. Citing a series of successes in the government's crime reduction efforts, Dr. Chang expressed confidence that Jamaica was on a sustainable path to reducing crime. Dr. Chang highlighted a 37% reduction in murders during the first quarter of 2025 compared to the same period in 2024. This follows a trend of declining violent crime with a reduction in shootings, rapes, robberies, and break-ins over the past 6 quarters, starting from the third quarter of 2023.
Lowest quarterly murder total in 25 years. In the last quarter, Q1, we have had 187 murders only. Wow. If we continue along those lines, we'll have under 600 murders.
The National Security Minister also outlined the ongoing efforts to tackle organized crime, revealing that 63 gangs have been targeted by security forces since the beginning of 2025.
At one stage in this country, we had over 200 gangs operating. Down below 200. But in this period of quarter, we have seen 63 gangs being interrupted. They have not been all totally disrupted, but we are aware that they have been impacted by police investigation.
Dr. Chang also reported a 29% decrease in the number of active gangs.
159 gang members have been arrested. 159 gang members in this quarter. Some 34 members have been charged with applicable offences, which include murder, firearm breach, and lotto scamming. 15 gang members have been charged under anti-gang legislation. Overall, 10 gang-related cases have been before the courts with.
Prime Minister Dr. Andrew Holness is calling for a more balanced conversation surrounding police fatal shootings, emphasizing the importance of considering the broader context of rising gang violence. His remarks came as he showed visible support for the Jamaica Constabulary Force by wearing blue on Tuesday, a gesture that was part of a broader show of solidarity with the police.
I wear full blue today to show my support for our security forces in ensuring that Jamaica is a safe place.
Several government members of Parliament also wore blue during the House of Representatives sitting on Tuesday, coinciding with a demonstration organized by the human rights group Jamaicans for Justice. The protest was in response to a troubling increase in police-involved killings. Speaking on the issue, Dr. Holness highlighted the recent tragic murder of 14-year-old Terona Thomas in his constituency and called for a balanced approach to the discussion. While speaking with the commanding officer for the St. Andrews South Division, Senior Superintendent of Police Damian Manderson on Tuesday, Dr. Holness expressed his support for the police.
All of it being gang-related, but it's a wanton shooting with an intent of getting somebody who they did not get, and that these are players possibly from outside of the space. We are in dialogue with other divisions as we're in pursuit of these individuals.
The impact of it is that it is not only people who are related in the gang activity that is impacted. There is the tragic murder of a 14-year-old girl just going to the shop to get something and is caught up in gang warfare. She has nothing to do with it. She's totally innocent.
He urged Jamaicans to consider not only the issue of fatal police shootings, but also the severe impact that gang violence is having on law-abiding citizens.
They take some of the profit and pretend that they are conducting welfare exercises. They will tell you, we'll help to send your children to school, but at night they call your daughter or they send your son to commit a robbery. And then eventually petty arguments happen between them, and then they send your son to go and carry out a vendetta killing. This is what is happening. I will be the first to tell you that my administration will never sit by and allow our state forces to act in a way that wantonly abuses the human rights of our citizens. That must never happen, and I want to reinforce that point and say it very loudly. That will never happen under my watch.
Opposition spokesman on matters related to Portmore, Fitz Jackson, says the People's National Party government would prioritize the expansion of body-worn camera usage by members of the Jamaica Constabulary Force. Mr. Jackson, Member of Parliament for St. Catherine Southern, made the commitment during his contribution to the 2025-2026 sectoral debate in the House of Representatives on Tuesday.
Body-worn cameras protect both civilians and officers. If we can justify their use in low-risk situations abroad, we must demand them here, where the risks are life and death.
Mr. Jackson's remarks came on the same day as a protest organized by human rights group Jamaicans for Justice, which is calling for attention to the sharp increase in police fatal shootings, with at least 106 reported since the beginning of 2025. The JCF has maintained that the fatalities resulted from shootouts with law enforcement.
No one is denying that Jamaica's crime problem, but we demand accountability and public safety to go hand in hand. The JCF, while striving to serve and protect, must respect the rule of law. In order for us to begin to address crime seriously, citizens and the state need to work hand in hand.
He continued, stressing the importance of collaboration between security forces, including the Major Organized Crime and Anti-Corruption Agency, MOCA, and the Jamaica Defense Force in fostering trust and achieving a safer, more secure Jamaica. Education Minister Dr. Dana Morris-Dixon has revealed that over 33,000 students will be sitting the Grade 6 primary exit profile exams this year. Speaking at Wednesday's post-cabinet press briefing, Dr. Morris-Dixon confirmed that approximately 33,434 students will take the exams on April 30 and May 1. Of the total candidates, 17,042 are boys and 16,392 are girls, 45 of which are special needs. She adds that 556 of the students sitting the exams will have special accommodations for students.
In terms of accommodations, special accommodations were granted to 556 students. And many people don't realize that the ministry really works with where our children are. And the CEO and her team, they do a fantastic job in ascertaining if students need extra time, for example, if they may need a reader or a shadow with them to help to calm them throughout the exam. And also there are accommodations, including printing the scripts in large print or in Braille for those who may need it. So there is a lot of work that's done in terms of accommodating our students, and I want to thank the team at all of our regions that are out there today and that have worked really hard to make the exam process go very smoothly.
The parliamentary opposition is raising red flags over the Jamaica Teaching Council bill, accusing the government of pushing it through with questionable urgency, especially in an election year. Senator Damian Crawford says while the regulation of the teaching profession is necessary, the bill in its current form is more punitive than supportive.
At a press conference on Tuesday, opposition spokesperson on education, Senator Damian Crawford, criticized the Jamaica Teaching Council bill passed last week in the Senate. He says the bill doesn't reflect the true interests of teachers.
We're also wanting to make it clear that we are not against registration or regulation. What we are against is the approach. As have been indicated by our proposals, we are not against the licensing, the registration, or the renewal. However, we feel, if I may repeat, that we should merge registration and licensing into a single streamlined process, extend the licensing period from 5 years to 10 years for stability, introduce 6-month grace period for license renewal after expiry, require police record only once unless there is a reasonable cost to request another, and fund the Jamaica Teaching Council through direct government subvention, not teacher licensing fees.
According to Senator Crawford, the opposition is not against regulation, just the current approach, as he listed several amendments the opposition believe would improve the legislation.
As we have recommended, if I may repeat, mandate all required CPD courses to be free or fully subsidized, such as the example that I've given just a minute ago for our teachers. Grant CPD credit for in-service accomplishments such as mentoring, leadership, and school contributions. Create a national CPD portal that is accessible online and offline with rural access guarantees. Introduce a 6-month grace period so that difficulty can be considered for persons who have not completed CPD in cases of hardship or in cases of pregnancy.
He also called for free or subsidized professional development and recognition of teachers' contribution beyond the classroom.
We're suggesting to our government, if they have any interest in the teachers, that they make those corrections now. Don't delay us to have to do what we have highlighted for them to do at this point in time. So we're not speaking to the bill, we're speaking to the outcomes, and the outcomes are risky to our teachers.
Addressing criticisms that some opposition members missed joint select committee meetings, Senator Crawford pushed back, accusing the government of failing to properly scrutinize the bill.
So if it is that our absence led to this negative, then it is right that the people consider that we should be the government, because we will make the decisions that are likely to benefit the people. And additionally, there is no justice in his suggestion because the teachers were not absent. This is not a bill, PMP bill. This is a JTC bill. And so therefore what we're proposing are reasonable to be considered because there's risk attached to the teachers who were not invited to be members. They were present in their periods of invite and they made many of these recommendations that were ignored. So an excuse such as that is not one that is sufficient for us to delay the conversation.
He insists a future PNP government would fix what he describes as serious gaps in the legislation. Reporting for the news on PBCJ, I am Danita Rodney.
Time now for the business report with Denise Williams.
Welcome to today's business report. I'm Denise Williams, here to bring you the stories shaping the financial world and guiding your journey to smarter business decisions. Let's dive into the top headlines. The Jamaica Business Development Corporation continues the rollout of the digital Jamaica training in the parishes of Portland, St. James, Kingston, St. Elizabeth, and Clarendon, increasing its reach to entrepreneurs across the island. Digital Jamaica training is funded by the European Union and managed by the Ministry of Industry, Investment and Commerce with the aim of improving 3 of Jamaica's major sectors: information and communication technology, education, and micro, small, and medium-sized enterprises. For the MSME sector in particular, the project seeks to narrow the digital divide in the sector through capacity building and training opportunities to be provided to 2,700 entrepreneurs over a 3-year period, 40% of whom must be outside the Kingston metropolitan area. Since the training began in October 2024, more than 500 entrepreneurs have been trained island-wide. So far, they have been exposed to areas including data analytics, financial management, human resource management, customer management, data security and privacy, reporting, and artificial intelligence. Several listed companies have advised shareholders of upcoming activities. First, passive income in the form of dividends is on the way for shareholders. A.S. Bryden & Sons Holdings Limited has declared a preference dividend of US 0.015 cents per share payable on May 14, 2025 to all preference shareholders on record as at May 12, 2025. Additionally, Massey Holdings Limited has advised that the Board of Directors at a meeting scheduled for May 8, 2025 will consider an interim dividend payment to shareholders of the company. And MFS Capital Partners Limited has advised that its annual general meeting will be held in a hybrid manner at 10 a.m. on Thursday, May 1, 2025 at the Courtly Hotel and Suites, Somerset Suite 85, Knutsford Boulevard, Kingston 5, and via live stream. For the trading period ending April 29, 2025, these were the most actively traded stocks. Toll road operator Trans-Jamaica Highway Limited with 4,994,303 units traded, representing 17.09% of market sales volume. Online education platform One-on-One Educational Services Limited with 4,685,080 units traded, representing 16.03% of market sales volume. Logistics firm Mailpack Group Limited with 3,556,348 units traded, representing 12.17% of market sales volume. We now shift our focus to the Forex market rate set by the Bank of Jamaica. On April 29, 2025, the Bank of Jamaica reported US $56.89 million purchased and US $74.94 million sold by Forex traders. Forex traders earned $1.35 per dollar, selling the US at $159.17 and buying the US at $157.82. The Canadian dollar netted Forex traders 46 cents per transaction, with selling at $114.87 and buying at $114.41. The British pound yielded Forex traders $1.55 in profits, with selling at $211.65 and buying at $210.10. For our credit report tip of the day, a strong credit score is one of the most underused tools in building a better life. It's not just about borrowing money, it's about positioning yourself to access better opportunities, reduce everyday costs, and fund the things that truly matter. Whether you want to grow a business, buy a property, or simply improve your monthly cash flow, your credit score can work for you if you know how to use it. Here are some ideas. 1. You can consider using credit to fund income-generating investments like real estate or stocks. Or you could think about accessing better refinancing options for student loans. And that wraps up today's Business Report. I'm Denise Williams, reminding you that every financial decision is a step toward your future. Until next time, stay focused, stay informed, and keep striving for success. See you soon.
In regional news, in Trinidad and Tobago, a well-known political analyst says while the results of Sunday's election were unexpected, the outcome does not give the winning side full control. Speaking with TTT News, Dr. Bishnu Raghunath explained that while the coalition secured enough seats to move certain legislation forward, they still fall short of the threshold needed to make deeper constitutional changes on their own.
Political analyst Dr. Bishnu Raghunath says while the results of the April 28th parliamentary elections was a surprise, the victory is not a landslide. Dr. Raghunath says while the United National Congress coalition of interest secured a victory, they will not have the three-quarter majority needed to amend the constitution. The political analyst was predicting a close fight and expected the UNC to hold on to their 19 seats, gain a few in some of the key marginals, but did not predict the PNM would lose some of their more safer seats.
What they do have, however, is that they do have the 3/5 majority. That is clear. So they have the simple majority, 50% plus 1. They have a 3/5 majority, which will allow them to pass certain other types of bills. But they do not have the three-quarter majority, which is also necessary if they have to amend the Constitution on their own. To get to that majority, you need 31 seats, that three-quarter majority. As at this point in time, I'm hearing 27, 28 for the UNC. I am 27, 28 for the UNC. And even if you get 2 more, that brings you up to 30. That still falls just 2% short of the three-quarter majority.
The Barbadian government is stepping up its efforts to improve the island's early warning system, this time through a major boost in ocean technology. The Barbados Meteorological Service has received its second unmanned surface vessel with a new high-tech spotter buoy. The equipment was officially launched during a ceremony at the Barbados Coast Guard headquarters. CBC's Anesta Henry was there and filed this report.
Barbados strengthening its early warning system is a move to save lives. It is also a major undertaking to lessen the country's dependence on the National Hurricane Center for weather forecasting. That's according to Minister of Home Affairs and Information, Wilfred Abrams.
With what is happening in the U.S., we do not expect, or we are not depending on the accustomed collaborations we used to have before. We're not depending on the information from NOAA in the same as it was before. We're not depending on any information sharing from the National Hurricane Center. We, the Caribbean territories, have to put ourselves in a position where we can stand alone and predict and do modeling and forecasting for ourselves. It is not sufficient for us to look to a big brother to feed us in drips and drops, to withhold that information when the big brother wants to, and to punish us by way of it. This is not a game we're playing, this is lives.
Minister Abrams says government has provided the Barbados Meteorological Services with more financing over the past 4 years than it has ever received since being established in 1933.
The Wilfred was out to sea in advance of Beryl, going as close to the storm as we can get. That is why we knew, even before the conditions triggered a warning inland, we waited for the fishermen to come in. Before we had calls to give the small craft advisory and to call ships back in the port, we knew we were dealing with above ordinary, extraordinary swells and conditions, and we asked our fishermen to come in even before that message went out to Barbados. That's what early warning and synergies are about.
Director of the BMS, Sabu Best, says the unmanned service vehicle, Seawolf, and the spotter buoy are 2 fascinating pieces of equipment.
If I was looking from the outside, I would say, wow, it's fascinating piece of technology, especially the enhancements we've done with this drone, because we've learned so much over the last 2 years, so much. This represents a lot of improvements, a lot. I'm sure I'll discuss with you in greater detail of what's on this vessel, but it's a collaboration. And what these platforms will unlock, not only for the BMS, but even the public, and even for industries around this, fishing industries, tourism, etc., is going to be unprecedented. And let us lead, not BMS, but Barbados.
The new spotter buoy and the USV were commissioned today. Onesta Henry, CBC News.
In Guyana, a powerful and emotional call for change was made in Parliament on Monday, as opposition MP Jermaine Figueroa urged the House to adopt a national child emergency alert system, one he once named the Adriana Alert, in memory of 11-year-old Adriana Young. This move comes as the Guyana Police Force at the weekend announced a new standard operating procedure for missing person cases. More in this newsroom report.
Adriana Young's death shocked the nation, and for opposition parliamentarian Jermaine Figueroa, it was personal. Choking back tears, he described the heartbreak of watching Adriana's father pull her lifeless body from a pool, calling it a moment that must never be repeated. The parliamentarian is proposing that Guyana establish an alert system similar to the Amber Alert used in the United States and other countries. He says it is not meant to compete with the Guyana Police Force, but to support and strengthen their work, especially in cases where time is critical.
Such a system would significantly enhance child protection mechanism, foster public vigilance, and deter potential predators.
Here's what he's asking for: immediate consultations with the police, telecom providers, child rights group, and others to design the system. Legislation to be drafted and brought to Parliament within the next 6 months. The system to be officially named after Adriana Young to honor her life, and yearly reports to Parliament on how the system is working. Figueroa stressed that with Guyana's rapid growth and modernization, the country needs updated public safety tools to match, and that protecting children must be a top priority.
The tragic abduction and murder of 11-year-old Adriana Young has profoundly shaken the consciousness of this country. And again, I say it transcended ethnic, religious, and social divide. This grievous loss demands not only solemn remembrance, but decisive action for justice.
Now, the government did respond. Prime Minister Brigadier Retired Mark Phillips told Parliament that the Guyana Police Force has already updated its procedures for handling missing persons. The Prime Minister also mentioned stronger coordination with agencies like the Child Care and Protection Agency and better public communication. He added that these new procedures will be gazetted tomorrow.
In sports, we begin with football. The Jamaica Football Federation has announced that its 2024 audit has confirmed the organization's improved financial standing, marking the removal of the long-standing going concern qualification that had previously raised concerns about its financial stability. In a media release issued on Tuesday, the JFF revealed that the audit has been completed and is now available for public access on the Federation's website. General Secretary of the JFF, Dennis Chung, expressed satisfaction with the audit results, highlighting the significance of the removal of the going concern qualification, an accounting term that signals doubts about a company's ability to continue operating in the future. The move comes as a positive sign for the future of Jamaican football, following years of financial concerns that had plagued the JFF. And that's the news on PBCJ. You can follow us on our social media platforms at PBCJamaica. Thanks for watching.